Welcome to the Reflective Minds. This is your host Monica. How are you doing? I hope you all are in your best health. Today we are going to discuss third density from the book Law of One. As we know that there are around 8 densities, and we have discussed so far first density, second density, and the higher self concepts, understanding of this. Now we are moving towards the third density. Let's dive into it. There are questions answer sessions, as you know. Questioner is asking, does an individual in the fourth density normally appear, or are they normally invisible to us? Ra, I'm Ra. The use of word normal is one which befuddles the meaning of the question. Let us rephrase for the clarity. The fourth density is by choice not visible to the third density. Wow, that's amazing. We cannot see the fourth density beings. It is possible for fourth density to be visible. However, it is not the choice of fourth density entity to be visible due to the necessity for concentration upon a rather difficult vibrational complex, which is the third density you experience. Wow, that's very interesting. Fourth density beings can be visible to us, but they cannot be visible at the same time, because it's very difficult for the third density people to understand the fourth density. There is a difference in the frequencies, vibrational frequencies. Okay. Questioner. Then we have a third density, that is, comparatively speaking, the twinkling of an eye, the snap of a finger in a time compared to the others. Why does the third density cycle so extremely rapidly compared to the first and second? I'm Ra. The third density is a choice. Questioner. Third density, then it appears, is compared to the rest of the densities, all of them, nothing but a uniquely short period of what we consider to be time, and is then for purpose of this choice. Is that correct? I'm Ra. This is precisely correct. The prelude to choice must encompass the laying of the foundation, the establishment of the illusion, and the viability of that which can be made spiritually viable. The remainder of the densities is continuous refining of the choice. This also is greatly lengthened as you would use the term. The choice is, as you put it, the work of a movement, but is the axis upon which the creation turns. Okay, I am little bit confused, but not clearly understanding the point. If you do understand this paragraph, so you can write in comments something about it. It is talking about basically the time. It is saying that third density has a very shorter period of time, but the other densities are very lengthy in terms of time, though Ra is saying he has no understanding of the timings because they don't have a concept of time. Questioners, what I am really attempting to understand, since all of these 21 philosophical bases results in the 22nd, which is the choice, is why this choice is so important. Why the logos, it seems, put so much emphasis on this choice, and what function that choice of polarity is precisely. Is the evolution or the experience of that which is created by the logos? I am Ra. The polarization or choosing of each mind, body, spirit is necessary for harvestability from the third density. The higher densities do their work due to the polarity gained in this choice. That is saying that if the choice is there, then harvest will happen. for those beings. Questioner, specifically, I am trying to grasp an understanding first of the process of experience in the third density before the veil, so that I can have a better understanding of the present process. Now, as I understand it, the mind body spirit complex went through the process of what we call physical incarnation in this density, but there was no forgetting. What was the benefit of the purpose of the physical incarnation when there was no forgetting? I am Ra. The purpose of incarnation in the third density is to learn the ways of love. Oh, again. As we have seen in the second density that the bisexual reproduction was introduced as a concept. So in third density, we are moving towards the love. Learn the ways of love. Okay. Questioner, I guess I didn't state that exactly right. What I mean is that since there was no forgetting, since the mind body spirit complex had the consciousness in what we call physical incarnation, they knew the same thing that they would know not in the physical incarnation. What was the mechanism of teaching that taught this? The ways of love in the third density physical prior to the forgetting process. Let me explain one concept here before the veil and after the veil. There is one concept in this book, Law of One, that says there is a veil. The veil is basically, you can say, a curtain. When we are incarnating on the surface of earth, we don't tend to remember our previous lives. So that is the tendency to forget everything which has happened in our previous lives or how many lives we had. That is a concept of veil here. So the questioner is mentioning that point here. I am Ra. We ask your permission to answer this query in an oblique fashion as we perceive an area in which we might be of aid. Questioner, certainly. I am Ra. Your queries seem to be pursuing the probability that the mechanism of experience in third density are different if a mind-body spirit is attempting rather than a mind-body spirit complex. The nature of the third density is constant. Its ways are to be learned the same now and ever. Thusly, no matter what form the entity facing these lessons, the lessons and mechanisms are the same. The creator will learn from itself. Each entity has unmanifest portions of learning and most importantly learning which is involved in other selves. Questioners, I don't grasp too well the condition of incarnation and time between the incarnation prior to the veil, in that I do not understand what was the difference other than the manifestation of the third density, yellow ray body. Was there any mental difference upon what we call death? Was there any? I don't see the necessity for what we call a review of the incarnation if the consciousness was uninterrupted. Could you clear that point for me? So, questioner himself is so unable to understand what Ra is trying to explain. As we have mentioned earlier, that this book is very complicated. The words, the terms are very complicated. Even the concepts are very complicated for us to understand. But we are still trying to understand. That's a decoding procedure, you know. I'm Ra. No portion of the creator's audit the course. To use your experimental terms, each incarnation is intended to be a course in the creator's knowing itself. A review, or shall we say, to continue the metaphor, each test is an integral portion of the process of the creator knowing itself. Each incarnation will end with such a test. This is so that the portion of the creator may assimilate the experience in the yellow ray, physical third density, may evaluate the biases gained and then choose either by means of the automatically provided aid or by self the conditions of the next incarnation. Ra is trying to tell in this paragraph, as per my understanding, that Creator is incarnating again and again and again for the sake of learning, experimenting, experiencing, But each incarnation is supposed to supposed to be done to learn something, and it ends with that incarnation. The process ends with the death of that incarnation, basically. So each of us, like humans, plants, animals, or any living being, is part of his experience. He's experiencing everything through us. The concept that all is one, everything is one. He's just experiencing everything through us. And it has to be done this way only. Questioner: I will make this statement and you can correct me then. As I see the nature of the actions of the diseases, specifically before the veil, it seems to me that the Logos had decided upon a program where an individual mind-body split would continue to grow in mind, and the body would be the third density analog of this mind. And the growth would be continual unless there was a lack of the growth or an inability for some reason for the mind to continue along the growth patterns. If this growth decelerated or stopped, then what we call disease would then act in a way so to eventually terminate the physical experience, so that a new physical experience could be started to continue the growth process. After a review of the entire process has taken place between the incarnation, would you clear up my thinking of that, please? I am Ra. Your thinking is sufficiently clear on this subject. Questioner: I see very roughly, if you were to move a third density entity from some other planet to this planet, roughly what percentage of all of those within the knowledge of Ra would look enough like those entities of Earth so that they would go unnoticed in the crowd? I am Ra. Perhaps 5%. Then there is an extreme variation in the form of the physical vehicle in the third density in the universe. I assume this is also true for the fourth density. Is that correct? I am Ra. This is so. We remind you that it is a great theoretical distance between demanding that the creatures of an infinite creation be unnoticeably similar to the oneself and observing those signs which may be called humans, which denote the third density characteristic of self-consciousness, the grouping into the pairs, societal groups, races, and further characteristics means of using self-consciousness to refine and search for the meanings of the milieu. Questioner: Well, within the Ra's knowledge of the third density, physical forms, what percentage would be similar enough to this planet physical form that we would assume entity to be human, even though they were a bit different? This would have to be very rough because of my definition being very rough. I am Ra. The percentage is still small, perhaps 13 to 15% due to the capabilities of various second density life forms to carry out each necessary function for the third density work. Thusly, to be observed would be behavior indicating self-consciousness and purposeful interaction with an sentient ambience about the entity rather than those characteristics which familiar connote to your people the humility of your third density form. Questioner: Was there a reason for choosing the forms that have evolved upon this planet, and if so, what was it? I am Ra. We are not entirely sure why our logos and the several neighboring logo of the approximately the same space-time flowering choose the bipedal erect form of the second density apes to invest. It has been our supposition, which we share with you as long as you are aware that this is a mere opinion, that our logos were interested in, and shall we say, further intensifying the veiling process by offering to the third density from a near complete probability for development of the speech, taking complete precedence over the concept communication or telepathy. We also have the supposition that the so-called opposable thumb was looked upon as an excellent means of intensifying the veiling process, so that rather than rediscovering the powers of the mind, the third density entity would, by the form of its physical manifestation, be drawn to making, holding and using the physical tools. Questioner: there seems to have been created by these logos to me anything a large percentage of entities whose distortion was towards the warfare in that we had called Meldeck and the Mars experience, and now Earth. It seems that Venus was the exception to what we could almost call the rule of warfare. Is this correct, and was this envisioned and planned into the construction of the archetypical mind, possibly not with the respect particularly to the warfare as we have experienced it, but to the extreme actions, to the polarization in the consciousness? I am wrong. It is correct that the logos designed its experiment to attempt to achieve the greatest possible opportunities for polarization in the third density. It is incorrect that the warfare of the type specific to your experience was planned by logos. This form of expression of hostility is an interesting result, which is apparently concomitant with the tool-making ability. The choice of logos to use the life form with the grasping thumb is a decision to which this type of warfare may be traced. So these were all the question answer sessions which were conducted in reference to the third density between the Ra and Don Elkin. The mediator was Carla. Jim McCarthy was the scriptwriter. So, as per my understanding, the third density, the human density, in which we are surviving right now, we are evolving, we are coming to our self-awareness, higher self-awareness, the highest conscious awareness. There's a healing, there's a love, there's spread of love, and there's a coming concept of the harvest. That is, we would be moving from third density to the fourth density. But then the question arises, when this harvest will happen, how it will happen. So right now, this third density, the whole planet Earth is going through a big transition. That is a grand awakening is happening right now at this period. So the self-awareness, the meditation, all these things are coming into light. If you have come here and you are seeking this knowledge, definitely you are one of the star seeds. And you should gain the insight, the self-awareness knowledge, that how this is going to happen. I'm not saying or claiming that these whole concepts are true or not true. I'm just stating what has been stated in the book, the concept, and what I have understood from this. So friends, thank you so much for watching my channel, Reflective Minds. Thank you for being here. I will see you in the next video, that is fourth density. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. See you later. Bye.